Yo guys, welcome to the Zelda Fiction. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto got banished and got harem with Hinata? Part 2. If you end up liking this video, please consider subscribe, so without further ado, let's get into the video. It had been 5 months and the leopards had finally made it to the village. Being a summoning animal gives them access to more efficient means of travel. From outside of the village, leopards observed the comings and goings of the gates and patrols. Using their techniques, they melded into the shadows one evening and entered the village and spread throughout the city. After getting their bearings and locating all main target areas, they split up to gather what information they could. One leopard broke into the academy and found the records room. Searching through the records, he found everything on Naruto and just decided to steal it rather than spend time copying the information. There were more important things to get done tonight. A second leopard broke into the hospital records room and couldn't find any information on Naruto. After searching for about 30 minutes, he found a sealed record room in an unused area of the hospital. It took some work, but he was able to find a way in. There were files upon files on one subject, Naruto Uzumaki. He had an entire room, about the size of a walk-in closet, full of medical records just on him. It made the leopard sick. No one should have this many records. He used a sealing scroll to take all the records. While the leopard was in the hospital, another had gone to the public records office and only found one single file on Naruto. It was basic information on him when he was in the orphanage, and his basic/public information on his ninja career. He did find out where his apartment was and decided to go there next. As he entered the apartment, he saw several personal belongings. He decided to grab everything he could and sealed it in a sealing scroll. The leader of the leopard team had been able to get into the main tower where all important records would be held. However, he couldn't find anything on Naruto. He found that odd. He decided to hang around until the morning. The other leopards had finished their jobs and were waiting in a forest on the edge of Konoha at the rendezvous spot. They had brought several other leopards with them for general spy work, but they were sent to the rendezvous spot to set up a transport seal back to Lord Hyo. All of the leopards were curious what was taking the leader so long, but being spies they knew things didn't always go as planned, but since no alarms were raised they decided to wait. As dawn was approaching, we find Shizune coming into the office to get everything prepared for the day. As she entered the Hokage's office, she never noticed a shadow that melded with hers and entered with her. The shadow transferred itself to the shadow being cast by the Hokage's desk. The lead leopard was in position to get the most information for the day. The day went on as normal. The Hokage stamped paperwork and dealt with mission briefings as always. Honestly, the lead leopard was getting bored. Also, if you ask this writer, I'm quite amazed the ANBU in the office never noticed the additional presence in the room. I guess they suck at being ANBU for the Hokage, but it would ruin my story if they had noticed the leopard in the shadow. Therefore, that is how the cookie crumbles. Finally, after lunch, the leopard spying resulted in valuable information. Jiraiya had finally returned to the village and was coming in his usual way, through the window. "Hey, Tsuhime, how are things going?" Jiraiya asked cautiously. Tsunade looked up from her paperwork and glared on him. "It's about damn time you got back here. I need to know what is going on with the 3 elders. None of the toads that were sent to spy on them have returned." "Really, that's odd. They were supposed to send regular messages." He went through several hand-signed summoning. In a poof of smoke, a small yellow toad appeared. Jiraiya addressed the toad, "Have you heard from the 3 toads that were sent to spy on the elders?" The toad responded, "No, we have not. We've been worried about them, but we also know that sometimes these missions require longer time frames. Would you like me to summon them for you?" Jiraiya looked at Tsunade and then back at the toad. "It is up to Tsuhime." Tsunade thought for a moment and decided the need for information was more important than the need for safety. "Yes, please do." The toad, using a special technique, went about reverse summoning the 3 toads that were sent after the 3 elders. In 3 poofs of smoke, 3 dead toads appeared on the floor. "Aw, crap. Someone knows we are on to them, and most likely it is Danzo," commented Jiraiya. Tsunade commented with a sigh, how are we going to get Naruto back if we can't get any information on those three old coots? At this the leopard raised the proverbial eyebrow. They want him back. I thought they banished him. He received his answer in the next comment by Jiraiya. Well, Harem, do you have enough with all the other information to get power back from the council? He asked. The leopard's thoughts continued, this council usurped the leader somehow. Lady Nilu will want to know this. You would think so, but when I hint at information they would want kept private they appear to give in when I talk to them privately, but once the meeting starts it's like they are completely different people. Jiraiya, if I cannot get power back I don't know what I'm going to do about getting my Naruto back. What would they think if they knew about all this? Swanda said, implying they meaning his parents. Remember readers, only a few people know the truth about Naruto parentage and the Hokage's Anbu do not know. I think they would go on a rampage personally. He replied. Okay, I need food for now and time to think. Jiraiya, you are taking me to get some sake and you are going to keep your hands to yourself. Got it? She said. Okay, I will abide by that today, Jiraiya said with the today being thought. As they left the room Shizune came in to clear up the signed paperwork and add to the pile of the unsigned. As she left she never noticed the shadow that left with her. It took some patience and some time to hop from shadow to shadow until he was able to reach the wooded rendezvous spot. Leader, we have the information gathered for you. One of the spies said. Good, I also have some more information that we need to write down and get back to Hyo, replied the leader. After all information was recorded and compiled then the leader spoke, I want you, the leopard from the record office mission, to send this information back to Hyo using our transport seal. I think there is enough for now. Also, direct his attention to the information I personally included at the end of the notes and I want him to review that first before reviewing everything else. The leader continued, you three, he pointed to three other leopards, there are others here known as elders. Once we locate them I want you to gather any and all information on them. It should be noted that there is a toad summoner here and the toad spies sent to these elders were killed. Please be careful, your lives are more important than any information you can gather. They all nodded and split up. The leader looked at the rest of the spies. I want you all to spread throughout this village and gather anything you might find important. I intend to send an update to Hyo by the end of the week so meet back here in a week's time. The leader did his spooky shadow jumping technique to head back to the Hokage's office. There is more and he would find out. It was the last day of the week and that evening the spies would gather to send an update to Hyo. As the afternoon approached more interesting information developed for the leader. Knock knock. Enter, said the Hokage. In walked Hinata. Ah, Hinata dear, how is your training with Shizune going? Asked Tsunade. Hinata took a deep breath which the Hokage noticed. She is getting better at calming herself. The training has been going well. I have learned so much and have been able to apply everything to my taijutsu and though it sickens me, my father has taken note to my advancement. That is good to hear. I will be taking over soon to take your skills to the next level so be prepared, okay? Commented Tsunade. Of course, Tsunade-sensei. Hinata bowed. I have a request if I may. She asked. Tsunade nodded. During my duties over the next month at the hospital I would like to bring Hanabi with me. She has been improving and is less stuck up than she used to be, but I think forcing her to help others may be what she needs. Would it be okay if I have Hanabi help me in the hospital? She asked. I trust your judgment, Hinata, and I agree with your assessment. Go right on ahead. Commented Tsunade. Thank you, Tsunade-sensei. The leopard was perplexed by something. Before he left the compound those many months ago he had the opportunity to be within smelling range of Naruto. He had committed his scent to memory. This girl smelled different, but she clearly had Naruto's scent on her. He guessed he would have to send one of his spies to figure this out. The spies all met back up and compiled any information to send back to the compound. Only one of the leopard spies that was sent to look for these elders returned. The leader hoped that was a good thing and told the last member to continue to look for this elusive third elder, and if she came across the other two spies she was to inform them to meet back up in a month. They all separated and continued to gather information about this village. Especially the young girl the leader wanted more information on. That month finally came to an end and the leopards had met back up. They compiled information about all of Naruto's friends and how they are treating their parents and others around the village. They have put quite the dossier about Hinata and her feelings toward Naruto. Especially how she slept every night with Naruto jacket that she found. Surprisingly, at one point Tsunade had pulled out the information on Naruto and was having a private discussion with Jiraiya and Kakashi about his parents and heritage. Above all things, this was the information that the leopards were needing. Finally, the important information needed about the elders was actually gathered. The leopard that was able to get to Danzo's private records had found some very incriminating evidence and compiled copies of the documentation needed and summaries of conversations between him and various civilian counselors and the elders. The next step for them was to get instructions from home. Until then they would continue to gather information on the village and monitor these elders. All of the spy information had been gathered and we now find our Panther clan leaders and Nilu gathered together to discuss everything. Lord Hyo started the meeting. Welcome everyone. We have finally compiled all the information from our spies and we have the information we wanted. We have way more than wanted, but we trimmed the information down to what we believe to be necessary. With the help of Lady Yukihiro we took a blood sample that we received from the hospital records of Naruto's father and compared it to the last known clan head. The royal bloodline lives on through Naruto. This confirms his place as the Namikaze clan head. Does anyone have any questions on this? When do we inform Lord Naruto of his heritage? Asked Sessho. I think it would be wise for me to compile everything together from this meeting and then we will discuss everything with Naruto later today. Commented Lady Yukihiro. That is good, replied Sessho. Lord Hyo continued, from everything gathered we have some very interesting information. It would appear that the leader and Naruto's friends did not want him to leave. Her power was usurped from her by 3 elders, and this civilian side of a council. However, what we have found out is that one of the elders named Danzo has been using his abilities to nudge the civilian side to his viewpoint. From his notes some are easier than others, but it would appear that Danzo is essentially controlling them, which is giving him the controlling votes where he deems fit. From other various notes he has been stealing children from the clans and claiming them to be dead at birth so that he can gain power, and he is building an army. On top of that he has always wanted to control Naruto as a weapon, due to the 9 tails, and when he ran out of options for control he opted for banishment and sent a team in an attempt to capture him in a weakened state. Obviously that didn't work out, but he is still looking for him. That is very troublesome if you ask me, commented Lady Tora. All of a sudden, in a different area of the world a certain Nara who was staring at Cloud sneezed. Lord Hyo continued, we do have some rather interesting news though. I direct this information to Lady Nilu. There is a young girl there that is apparently very fond of our young lord. She has been bettering herself to gain some form of acceptance in her clan so that, when Naruto returns she can be with him and protect him. She sleeps every night with an old jacket of his. From the notes that the spies made it was quite adorable. Apparently his friends are upset at the village as well. They have been shunning their parents for allowing one of their own to be banished, and they do know all about the 9-tailed fox. They do not care and actually do see him as a hero. They too have been trying to help out the leader of their village in an attempt to get Naruto to return. I believe this covers everything that is of importance since we received the spies' reports last time. Finalized Hyo. Speaking of which, Lady Yukihiro, how is Lord Naruto's education coming? Asked Jaga. He made a lot of progress during the months prior to us receiving his academic records. Since then I discovered that several teachers sabotaged him until he reached an Irika. However, by that time, he was already stunted mentally. I have been working in the basics since then and surprisingly he is like a sponge. Not only has he picked up the basics he should have received, but he has found ways to apply them to his training as well. He is quite remarkable. There is no telling what kind of ninja he would have been if he was on the correct path from the start. She replied. Lord Jaga, how has his physical training been going? Asked Sessho. Similar to how Lady Yukihio described his studies, and his physical capabilities are endless. We have corrected his basic taijutsu and we started his family taijutsu a month ago once we got his academic records. Thanks to Lady Yukihio we found where he was sabotaged and built up from there. I do finally have a request to ask of this council and specifically you Lord Sessho. Commented Jaga. Continue, replied Sessho, however he knew where this was going. The Namikaze clan never had a Jinchuriki before. The possibilities are endless with the clan's jutsus. I want to start on his training on using the fox's chakra and maybe even building a bond with the fox. I would need the lions and their abilities with ninjutsu and us jaguars with our taijutsu skills we should be able to create the ultimate ninja that the Namikaze clan has never seen. Jaga requested. As long as the other heads do not object I don't see why not. However, we should talk to Naruto first and make sure that is what he wants. I will not force something like this on him. Commented Sessho. No one objected to the idea. It was at this point Nilu got everyone's attention. After listening to everything I believe we have a plan for Lord Naruto, but I think as his familiar I have another job to do. I think I should go to this village and talk to their leader and personally present our findings. Not only do we get the leverage needed, but we may be able to help Naruto return there. Said Nilu. Excuse me Lady Nilu, but are we sure this is wise? What if Naruto doesn't want to return there? Asked Tora. Lady Tora, first things first. I don't know if this is wise or not, however, the Namikaze clan never ran from their problems and I believe Naruto needs to return to his village to claim his home back. This would be more of a therapeutic action and making sure he faces his problems instead of running from them. I would like to remind everyone that we have never seen him smile or laugh. This is quite concerning in my opinion. The clan, speaking historically, has always been strict regarding tradition, but it was never an unfriendly clan. She replied. With all due respect Lady Nilu, but not running from their problem is exactly what caused the fall of the clan today. Maybe we should run in this case. Commented Jaga. I believe not having allies and being a nomadic clan is what caused the fall. Being a part of a village would provide additional protection for the clan. Wouldn't you agree Lady Tora? Nilu shot back. We tigers failed our job last time because of our arrogance. We will not fail again. Therefore, being a part of a village would be a wise move. Commented Tora. We shouldn't be doing any of this without Lord Naruto. This is his life and he should be a part of the decision. Lady Nilu, please retrieve Naruto from the training grounds and let's discuss his heritage and what he wants to do. Commanded Sessho. Nilu gave a respective bow and left to retrieve Naruto. In another area we find Naruto in a large arena built within the compound. There were over 50 Narutos going through various taijutsu exercises being monitored by various jaguars. Over the last half year of training his strength had increased exponentially. His fighting prowess and increased as well with daily spars against different members of the Panther clan and sometimes against multiple combatants. Additionally he had grown some too. Of course that happens when you eat properly especially with Nilu forcing vegetables and fruit down him. Sometimes he just wanted to run again, but he had to admit, it is nice having companions around. One thing was for sure. He had found a home. Something he lost a long time ago. And for the first time in a long time he actually felt content, still never smiled or laughed, but content with life. He was still curious about why he hadn't signed the Panther contract yet, but so far these animals have treated him more than fairly and he wasn't going to go and question their actions. He was broken from his concentration when he was called. Lord Naruto, the council leaders would like you to come to a meeting. Called Nilu from the side. Naruto walked over with an eyebrow raised. Lord Naruto. He asked. Well, you are the only living clan head that we are aware of and as such the title of clan head goes to you and thus you are Lord Naruto. C commented. I have never been one for formalities, could we just call me Naruto? He requested. She turned with a smirk on her face and walked away, calling of her shoulder a bit jovially, "Come Lord Naruto, the council is waiting." I guess not, thought Naruto. As Naruto entered the room, the other members of the Panther clan bowed to him. "Thank you for coming Lord Naruto," said Yukihiro. "Seriously, I'm not much into formalities. Can we please just use Naruto?" he requested. There were several small giggles from around the room. "Lord Naruto, as the clan head you should get used to it, but we'll make you a deal. Any of these private meetings we end up having we will use just Naruto, is that acceptable?" asked Sessho. Naruto rolled his eyes in annoyance. "Is that the best I'm going to get?" he asked. Several nods from around the room confirmed that and just sighed and decided to accept it. "Okay, what's so important now?" Lady Tora spoke up next. "Don't get all snippy with us Naruto." She dragged out his name. "We finally have all the information we needed to tell you all about yourself and your clan." Naruto's eyes were wide now in realization what was about to happen. His breathing became erratic and his heart rate increased. This did not go unnoticed. "Naruto, are you okay?" asked Nilu. He closed his eyes and took several deep breaths to calm himself. "My apologies, I was not ready for that. I have always wanted to know who I was, where I came from, and who my parents were." "Please continue." Lady Yukihiro spoke up. "Let's start with the important information to you. You are the son of Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. I am the son of the fourth Hokage." He stuttered with eyes as big as plate saucers. "Yes, you are Naruto. Through some records we were able to copy and a sample of blood that is kept in the village you came from. We did a blood test and confirmed him as your father." Naruto leapt out of seat and started pacing the floor. How could this be? Why did they not tell me? Did they not know? What does? "Naruto, calm down," commanded Sessho. "We have several answers, but not all. Please, one question at a time." Naruto took deep breaths again and calmed down. He sat back down and started again. Did the village know? From what was gathered, only a few people knew: the Hokage, a Jiraiya, a Kakashi, and 3 others known as elders. To our knowledge no one else knew. Commented Hyo. "If they knew who I was, why didn't they say anything?" he asked. "That is one of the few answers we don't know. However, you will," started Yukihiro but was cut off by Nilu. "Perhaps we should continue with that thought later, please." It was stated as a question but the tone was a commandment. "Naruto, please continue," commented Jaga. "What about my mother, what can you tell me?" Naruto asked. "All we know of your mother is that she comes from the Uzumaki clan. This obviously means you part of 2 clans, however, we know nothing about the Uzumaki. They were around during the Second Great Ninja War, but we never had any dealings with them and neither did the Namikaze." "Okay, how did my parents meet?" Yukihiro continued. "From all accounts your father and mother were both orphans in the village. Your father was an orphan from the beginning, but your mother came to the village later and joined the academy. She apparently was the second host to the 9-tailed fox." This information caught Naruto by surprise. "Wait a minute, I just realized. My own father sealed the fox inside of me. Why would he do that?" "Unfortunately, that is another question we cannot answer right now, for we do not have the answer," apologized Yukihiro. "Please forgive me, but it seems like you don't know much." Naruto spat out. None of them took offense, they understood. Sessho decided to comment. "It was not easy getting this much information. However, consider this. You now know for a fact that you have parents, who they are, and where you come from. Speaking of which, what happened to the Namasori? What happened to my clan?" asked Naruto. "Perhaps I should take this one," commented Tora. "First let me say that the Namikaze were originally a nomadic clan. We attempted to stay away from the war, however, that didn't work. The Tigers are tasked with being the protectors and guards for the Namikaze clan. Toward the end of the Second Great Ninja War we failed to protect the royal line of the Namikaze. They were kidnapped from right under our noses by some ninja forces we didn't recognize. By the time we found the royal family, they had been killed and the kidnappers had been killed as well. It was at this point we assumed that the baby, your father, was rescued by the leaf and taken to the village. We assumed the baby was gone forever. By the time we made it back to the clan, a majority of the branch families were killed either by the same force that took the clan head or someone else. We don't know for sure either way. With what clan remained, we fled the elemental nations and ended up here. However, soon after arriving, the remaining clan members caught some disease, and without any medical ninja we couldn't help them. Before completely dying out, the final few clan members summoned the lion, panthers, jaguars, leopards, and snow leopards to remain behind and protect the clan scrolls and assets. Since then we have remained in this world to watch over everything. All of the Panthera clan separated and took various things to keep the Namikaze assets safe as requested. That is our story until you showed up. Naruto sat there for a long time in contemplation. Please forgive my carelessness, but what now? I don't have a clan and I don't know what to do with myself. Nilu spoke up this time. First things first, would you be willing to sign the Panthera contract? Naruto got a sad look on his face. Naruto, what are you thinking right now? Asked Sessho. It's not that I'm not grateful, but I don't know if I should sign the contract. He commented. They were all stunned. Have we done something that would make you not want to sign our contract? Asked Jaga. It's not that, Sai, I used to have a contract and it was one of the best gifts I have ever received. However, the contract belonged to my ex-village, and when they found out that I was banished they had to remove me from the contract. I don't know if I can do that again. Naruto, who was the contract with? Asked Yukihiro. The toads. Replied Naruto. Nilu walked up to Naruto and gave him a hug, using her large paw to pull him close. Naruto, as the sole summoning of the Namikaze clan, you cannot lose us. We don't only need you, but we want you to be our summoner. We lions are your partners and our fighters, the tigers are the guards of the family and home, the leopards are the spies and assassins, the jaguars are the physical and fighting trainers, and the snow leopards are the educational trainers. We together belong to the Namikaze, and by extension we belong to you. By signing the contract it does nothing to change that except allow you to summon the larger fighters and the elders of our clan. You are stuck with us forever now. Signing the contract is honestly just a formality. Naruto had some tears in his eyes. He was having feelings he thought he locked away. He stood up abruptly and ran out of the room with Nilu following him. Well, I guess we can finish this tomorrow, commented Sessho. Naruto ran to his room and flew into his bed to hide under the covers. Why now? Why do I have these feelings now? Thought Naruto. Nilu walked into the room and approached the bed. Naruto, get undressed and come over to the onsen now. She commanded. He didn't want to fight, so he did as he was told. Don't be sick, readers, it's not like that. As he lowered himself into the onsen, Nilu put a paw on his head and pushed him under the water. He came back up instantly coughing. What was that for? He asked. If you are crying, I cannot tell, was her only comment. It finally clicked. With all the water he could cry and no one would know. Honestly, he's the only human there who would find out. Right, readers? Oh well. He finally stopped crying after about 30 minutes. He climbed out of the onsen, dressed in his night clothes, and sat by the fire. Nilu, may I trouble you for some food? Of course, Lord Naruto, I will return shortly, she replied. After a while she came back with food. As he was eating he decided to talk. Nilu, what would happen to the contract if I was a bad summoner? Or an evil summoner would be a more appropriate word. Naruto asked. It wouldn't matter, as the clan head you determine how you want the clan to be. We are to serve. The only thing we will not do is kill or harm others in the clan and the Panthera clan members. I see. Can you promise me something else? He asked. What do ask? She replied. Promise me that I cannot lose the summoning, and more importantly I cannot lose you. He asked with tears in his eyes. Young one, I promise I will stand by you for as long as I breathe. And then when that stops and if you are still alive I promise to live on in your heart forever. Naruto got up and kissed Nilu on the head. Thank you, he whispered, and then sat next to her and leaned up against her to enjoy the fire. After some time passed, Nilu decided to address one more issue. There is more to discuss, but it will upset you. This day has already been upsetting enough. Let's get this over with so I can move on. Very well, replied Nilu. I think you need to go back to your village. Naruto shot up off the floor right there and glared at her. How dare you make that statement? They turned their backs on me, all of them, he yelled the last part. No, they didn't. The council did, and they did so under duress from what we can gather. The Hokage has been fighting to get you back ever since you left. Your friends, she was cut off. They are not my friends, they turned their backs on me, he shot out venomously. Nilu corrected herself. The others your age have shunned the village for what happened to you, especially their own parents. It should be noted that they know you contain the fox as well. Naruto sat down and thought for a while. The Hokage stamped my banishment, why would she want me back, he asked rather hotly. The stamp was used by the council elders while the Hokage was in surgery. She never knew anything about it until you were long gone. Nilu continued. Also, apparently, several of the clans are coming to your side. Some part due to their kids shunning them and in some part of frustration out of someone named Sasuke. Naruto's eyes shot wide open. What do you mean? He asked. Apparently this Sasuke has corrupted a pink-haired one and has practically made her a slave. This civilian council has been blinded by him as well and is claiming parts of the city for himself. It is rumored by our friends that he is going to force women into his clan and even take some of the other clans' jutsus for himself through marriage. There is a rumor in the shadows that he is gunning for a blonde-haired girl and her family is trying to fight the council, but they are claiming it is for the good of the village. This Sasuke is corrupting the village from within using the civilian council's stupidity to his favor. Naruto was getting pissed by the moment. He saved him for the sole purpose of helping the village and for saving his friend, but he is using the village for his own power. Then Naruto froze. He realized he was caring about what happened to the village. But why would he care? Why do you want me to go back? He asked. Because I can tell you are not you. You cannot move on until you face your issues and all your issues are back there. When would you want me to go back? He asked. It would be at least a year or more. She commented. You have taken care of me so far and as my familiar you have asked me to trust you with my care when I need it. I'm not happy about this, but I will trust your judgment. He conceded. In that case I would need to go to this village and set things up for you. She was cut off again. And no, you cannot leave me, you promised. He looked at her with pleading eyes. She looked at him and her heart broke. Okay, we will send someone else. Naruto breathed a sigh of relief. Okay, now, when do I sign this contract? She pushed him to the bed. Get some sleep, young one, she said with affection, and we'll conclude everything tomorrow. Naruto did have a hard time falling asleep that night. The thought of going back to that village both frightened him and angered him at the same time. He eventually nodded off and concluded a very taxing day. The next day finds Naruto in the meeting with the other clan heads and Nilu. After talking with Nilu last night, I have decided to sign the contract. I know it is part of the deal, but I'm grateful for this opportunity and I hope to live up to what the clan used to be. They all smiled and Yukihiro summoned a rather large snow leopard the size of a large dog that was holding the scroll. Ah, so this is Lord Naruto. It is a pleasure to meet you. I cannot tell you how exciting all of us in the summoning realm are to have a living Namikaze again. He unrolled the scroll and instructed Naruto to sign it in blood. He did so and the scroll glowed for a second and rolled itself up. Very good, we all look forward to working with you and I bid you good day, Lord Naruto. Now, since you have had a summoning before, we recommend going outside and having you summon the boss. Commented Sessho. They all proceeded outside and Naruto went through the hand signs summoning he called out, and in a large poof of smoke a large white lion appeared in the clearing. The lion was just a hair taller than Gamabunta and about as long as Gamabunta with his legs extended. Standing on the lion's head was Naruto. He couldn't believe it. This lion was just as large as Gamabunta. It was so cool. The lion felt Naruto on his head. "Please come to my nose so I may see you, summoner," he commanded. Naruto complied and bowed to the lion once on his nose. "Hello, I'm Naruto Uzum Naruto Namikaze," he corrected himself. "Greetings, Lord Naruto. I'm Bosura, the boss lion and main fighter for the Panther clan. I look forward to working with you," Bosura replied. "Are there any rules I need to be aware before summoning you?" Naruto asked. The lion looked at Naruto quizzically. "Rules?" Bosura asked. "Yes, when I used to summon Gamabunta he only wanted to be summoned for a big fight. He wasn't into summoning for no reason whatsoever," commented Naruto. "Ah, I see. You used to summon toads. Well, we are not quite so high and mighty with our summoners. Though we do prefer you to use judgment, but if you just want to show off your summoning skills then you are welcome to summon any of us at any time," replied Bosura. "Ah, that is good to know. I assure I will try not to abuse any of the summons," said Naruto. "Very good, Lord Naruto. I look forward to working with you." Bosura had an amused glint in his eye. "I bid you farewell for now." He then poofed back to the summoning realm and Naruto with wide eyes fell to the ground and onto his ass unceremoniously. Ouch! Naruto looked over to the other heads who were all smiling. He did that on purpose, didn't he? They all chuckled and motioned for him to follow them back inside. Once back inside, the meeting continued. "Lord Naruto, it gives us great pleasure to finally have a summoner back and Bosura appeared to like you," said Sessho. "He could have put me down a little easier," Naruto deadpanned. The other heads all snickered. Naruto shot them all an evil glare and they just laughed a little louder. Naruto rolled his eyes. Nilu took the lull in conversation to begin her plans. "Well, I had a chance to talk with Naruto last night and we came to a final agreement to attempt to get Naruto back home to the Leaf Village," she said. "Ah, so we will have a home then?" asked Tora. "Yes, that is correct," replied Nilu. "When will you be leaving, Nilu?" asked Sessho. "I will not, per agreement with Naruto I will not leave his side," she replied. "As his familiar it is your duty to handle his personal affairs," replied Yukihiro. "I do not dispute that, however, I have promised Naruto that I will not leave his side. Therefore, we will need to send someone else," she replied again. After a few minutes of contemplation Sessho spoke up. "Very well, Yukihiro, would you be willing to come with me to handle all this?" "I do not mind, but the spies are already there, why not work with them?" asked Yukihiro. It was Hyo who spoke this time. "I don't think revealing our spies would be a wise course of action. That should remain a clan secret." "Very well, I agree then," Yukihiro conceded. "Very good, we will take our information and go see this Hokage of the Leaf Village. Naruto, I know this will be hard for you, but we promise to take care of you," said Sessho. "Sigh, I know you will. I won't lie, this is hard for me, but Nilu and I have agreed on facing my issues with that village and I will do so with her at my side," replied Naruto. "We leave tomorrow," said Sessho. In the Leaf Village many things had been happening while Sessho and Yukihiro made the 5-month journey. Not only had Sasuke married Sakura, but a wedding was being planned for Sasuke and Ino at the extreme displeasure of the Yamanaka clan. The civilian council led by Danzo and the other elders had forced Inoichi's hand. Ino was practically distraught and was currently being housed in the Uchiha compound. Unknown to any of the villagers or clans alike, Ino was completely against the wedding and was being beaten by Sasuke and Sakura for her refusal to accept Sasuke. We find ourselves now in the Hokage's office with all the shinobi clan heads pleading with Tsunade. Please Lady Hokage, storm in there and retrieve my daughter, pleaded Inoichi, Ino's father. You know I cannot do that. The council, in all of its wisdom, has given in to Sasuke's every demand. He almost has enough power and the assets to bankrupt this village, and you all know it. Tsunade replied. She was honestly disgusted with the council, but she did sympathize with Inoichi. Tsum, Kiba's mother, and head of the Inuzuka clan, spoke up. Lady Hokage, we can smell what is going on, and I'm telling you he is abusing that poor girl. You have to do something. Tsum was trying another angle. Tsunade sighed, I don't doubt it, but without actual evidence of abuse we cannot interfere. Shikaku and Choza, Shikamaru and Choji's fathers, were beside Inoichi trying to comfort the distraught man. They all dispersed except for Hayashi. What may I do for you, Hayashi? Asked Tsunade. Lady Hokage, Hayashi bowed before her, which has never happened in the history of the village. I humbly ask you to help me protect my daughters from the uchiha. And what do you want me to do about it? She asked, rather annoyed, although she wanted to protect her apprentice as well. Anything to keep them both out of the uchiha's hands, Hayashi pleaded. Tsunade thought for at least 20 minutes, and all this time Hayashi never moved with head bowed before her. A thought finally occurred to her. Do you truly mean you will do anything to protect both your daughters? She asked. Yes, I will, especially from the uchiha. He said with conviction as he raised his head. Very well, please have a seat. Shizune. Tsunade called. Shizune came in. Yes, my lady. Retrieve Hinata and Hanabi as well as Konohamaru and Asuma as soon as possible. She commanded. What is she thinking? Hayashi asked himself. After some time everyone was gathered and they were all quite confused. Very well, we'll start with Konohamaru and Hanabi. I know you care for each other, but I need you to admit it now in front of your father, Hanabi. Asuma already knew. Both young ninjas got red from embarrassment and Hayashi caught on. Hanabi, is this true? He asked. Hanabi turned to her father. Yes, father, I really do. She replied with a hint of red on her cheeks still. She really had humbled herself since Hinata got a hold of her and gave Konohamaru a chance instead of thinking he was below her. Very well, I suggest we set up a marriage contract now, and you two will be wed when you are of age. Do you both agree? Asked Hayashi. Both kids were wide-eyed. He was okay with them being together. They didn't hesitate. They both nodded and Tsunade completed with contract with all those involved. She instructed all but Hayashi and Hinata to leave and Konohamaru and Hanabi left holding hands and smiling. Hayashi actually felt good about the relationship despite Konohamaru's rather boisterous attitude. Now comes the real test, Hayashi, said Tsunade with a confused Hinata in the room. Tsunade continued, this is a blank marriage contract for Hinata. I need you to trust me and sign it. Once signed I will hold on to it and give a copy to the slugs for safekeeping. I can promise you that the person is worthy and will treat her well, but his identity must be kept secret even from you, Hayashi, she said as she cut a glacé of at Hinata and winked. Hinata caught on right away and on the inside she was giddy. You promise me that this will protect my daughter? He asked. Yes, it will. She replied. Hayashi signed the contract and Hinata wanted to jump to sign the contract, but decided to play it cool. Once the contract was signed and sealed by the Hokage summoned a slug and had them keep the contract safe. Hinata left the room ready to go shout to the moon. She would marry her Naruto-kun if it was the last thing she'd do. Lady Hokage, I thank you and I am putting Hinata's safety in your hands. He hinted at his trust in her. Do not worry, I would not do anything to harm my apprentice. Hayashi nodded and left the office. Tsunade smiled to herself, when I get you back you will have a better life, I swear it. She thought. All of a sudden a chunin burst into her office. Lady Hokage, a large lion and another animal are approaching the gate. All of a sudden a chunin burst into her office. Lady Hokage, a large lion and another animal are approaching the gate. So, use a gain jutsu to deter the animals in another direction. She replied. We did, they keep dispelling the gain jutsus we keep using. The Chunin commented. Tsunade raised an eyebrow to this. Any animal that could dispel a gain jutsu would have to be a summoning animal. Come with me to the gate. Commented Tsunade as she left the office to the front gate. As she arrived she came across an amusing scene. There were shinobi and civilian alike gawking at the scene of two rather large animals sitting by the sign-in station having a conversation with a confused Chunin at the gate. We only wish to sign in and request a meeting with your Hokage. Commented a horse-sized lion. Please forgive me, but you don't have hands. How would you possible sign anything? Replied the Chunin. At this point the large dog-sized animal nobody recognized spoke up rather frustrated. If you would provide some ink we can dip one of our claws in the ink and using chakra we can have our names appear on the document. You are able to use chakra. Commented the gate guard. The smaller of the animals looked at the larger with an exasperated tone. This is getting tedious, Sessho. Are these people really where we want him to come to? She asked. At this point the Hokage finally decided to interject. Please forgive the Chunin for his ignorance and that will be corrected soon. She shot a glare at the Chunin who should know what was going on and have basic knowledge of summoning animals. Is it reasonable to assume you two are summoning animals? The Hokage asked. That would be correct. Replied the larger of the two. Tsunade turned to all those that were gathered. It should be obvious to the shinobi by now, but to everyone around. These animals are summoning animals that have the ability to speak, use chakra, and I would assume a number of other things similar to those of us who have summoning animals. Please go about your day and I will take it from here. Tsunade turned around and addressed the animals directly. I'm the Hokage and my name is Tsunade. How may I be of assistance to you? Greeting Hokage Tsunade, I am Lord Sessho, the leader of the summoning lions in the human realm. This beside me is Lady Yukihio and she is the leader of the summoning snow leopards here as well. Greetings to you both, please just call me Lady Tsunade. What can I do for you today? She asked. Perhaps this would be better to discuss in private, commented Yukihio. Very well, please follow me to my office. Tsunade replied. As the three made their way to the Hokage Tower they were drawing quite the crowd. Seriously, who has seen large animals that stood as tall as or taller than a human just walking through town? As they made it to the tower Sessho noticed that the doors were small for him. However, he was able to lower his head enough to fit through the doors and as they were about to enter Tsunade's office Shizune leaned over to get Tsunade's attention. Lady Tsunade, are you sure it is wise to have an unknown summoning animal in your office with you? Especially one this large. She whispered in Tsunade's ear. Lord Sessho, correct? The lion nodded in confirmation. How private is this meeting needing to be? Asked Tsunade. It would be wise for this meeting to be between as few people as can be. I would prefer it to remain between you, me, and Lady Yukihio, but as I just heard, there may be some concern about whether or not I will harm you. Yes, I was able to hear you. Sessho said to the two ladies, but he continued. That being said, I will be okay with just us four and you may have one other for protection, but rest assured you will need someone you can trust with any and all information. Commented Sessho. Conveniently at that moment Jiraiya happened to be right outside the window as always and he jumped in. I shall stay to protect the Hokage, it is my duty to my Tsuhime after all, he commented with a lecherous grin. It took all of Tsunade's willpower to not send him flying out that same window. Very well, will all please leave for the duration of this conversation? Tsunade commanded and all figures in the room felt the presence leave. All that was left in the room was Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Shizune along with Sessho, Yukihio, and the unseen spy of the Panther clan. Tsunade went through several seals and there was a luminescent light that indicated the privacy seals were up. I just put up the privacy seals and we are free to discuss anything you wish. First, if we are to foster trust between us, I must be upfront with you. You may come out now. Sessho commanded to the room. The three humans were confused for only a second, but suddenly with wide eyes they caught sight that to this day they have never seen before. A normal-sized leopard crawled out of a shadow from the side of the Hokage's desk as if it was pulling itself out of a pool. Tsunade immediately shot to her feet and was angry. What is the meaning of this? She spat out with noticeable venom. Have you been spying on us? Yes, we have, but not for the reasons you may be thinking. Please calm down and sit. Let me explain. Replied Sessho very calmly and without moving a muscle. About 2 minutes passed before Tsunade sat down, much to the others' relief. Now, first we come offering you a gift. This is only a partial gift, but we will get to that in a moment. Lady Yukihiro, please present the first scroll. Commanded Sessho. She walked up to the front of the Hokage's desk and pulled out a scroll with her mouth from her bag and placed it on the desk. Tsunade looked at Jiraiya and he had a confused look until it registered. He reached for the scroll and inspected for traps. The scroll is safe, he said. Tsunade opened the scroll and began to read. It only took the first paragraph to figure out what was written, but the sheer volume of information kept her glued to the scroll. She finally finished half of the scroll before she put it down and looked at the three animals in front of her. Not wanting to give away too much, not knowing that the animals already knew the state of affairs in Konoha, she asked the first question she wanted to know the answer to. Why have you just given me this information? What information is on that scroll, Tsuhime? Asked Jiraiya. She turned to look at him. It is all the information needed to get the civilian council expelled as counselors. Jiraiya and Shizune stared at the lion and the scroll wide-eyed. The reason we give you this information is because we are aware of the state that Konoha is in thanks to our spies, commented Lady Yukihiro as she nodded toward the leopard in the room. We also have other matters to discuss regarding similar information. What similar information? Asked Jiraiya. We will get to that. Commented Sessho. However, we need the Hokage here to have absolute authority, and suffice it to say we all know she doesn't at this time. The information we have gathered will give you the authority you need. Why do you assume I don't have the authority, and what makes you think I would want it in the first place? Asked Tsunade. Ha ha ha, did you forget already that we have had our spy here in your office for many months? We are aware of everything. However, all these steps are being taken for one person that we care for. Who would that be? Asked Shizune. Sessho took a deep breath. Naruto simply said. All three humans had wide eyes. What do you mean? Asked Tsunade as her eyes started to water. We serve Naruto. Perhaps the better response is we serve the clan, and Naruto is the sole heir to the clan and he also carries the royal bloodline of the clan. We are doing all this to bring him back here. Commented Yukihiro. Jiraiya put a hand on Tsunade's shoulder to help calm her and spoke, please forgive my skepticism, but how can we trust you? You have a point. However, whether we are deceiving you or being honest, you still will gain the information you require to bring Naruto back to the village, commented Sessho. Tsunade at this point had composed herself. What will this information cost us? Sessho put a scroll down for her to inspect. The scroll you have there has our requirements for Lord Naruto. Tsunade read the scroll while Shizune and Jiraiya looked over her shoulder. To the Hokage of Konoha. The Panther clan formally requests the following concessions for Lord Naruto Namikaze. If these requests are granted, then the Panther clan will provide the needed information for the Hokage, Lady Tsunade Senju, to gain the power required with the council that would be needed to run the village of Konoha as she sees fit. Announce to the village and provide the proof required that Lord Naruto is in fact the heir to the Namikaze clan and specifically the child of Konoha's Minato Namikaze. Provide a plot of land of a minimum of 50 acres to be purchased by the Namikaze clan to build its own compound. Add Lord Naruto to the CRA Act and allow him to rebuild the Namikaze clan. Place Naruto on a team for the sole purpose of competing in the Chunin exams, see number 5 below. Finally, Give one Sasuke Uchiha his ability to be a ninja again and make sure he is in the Chunin exams to be held in Konoha a year and a half from now. In return for the above concessions, the Namikaze clan along with the Panther clan will become ninja of Konoha and give its support to the Hokage, Lady Tsunade Senju, and provide the needed information for the Hokage to have the power she needs to run the village as she sees fit. Signed, the Panther clan as representatives for the Namikaze clan. All three humans read the contract and then Tsunade looked up at the summoning animals. I assume Naruto is aware of his heritage now. At the lion's nod she asked, may have an hour to discuss this with these three right here. Of course, we will return in an hour, replied Sessho, and the three animals left the office. Once outside, Sessho turned to the leopard spy. Take a break and rest for now. You have been at this for a long time and you deserve it. Thank you, Lord Sessho, I bid you farewell for now, and you too, Lady Yukihyo. Commented the leopard and seemingly disappeared from sight. What should we do for an hour? Asked Yukihyo. Let's go visit this ramen place that took care of our lord. He replied. After several minutes of travel through the village, causing quite the commotion due to being large animals just walking through town, they arrived at the ramen place. Sessho was too large to enter, so he sent Yukihyo in to place their order. As she entered the stand, the chef and his daughter turned around. With wide eyes, they weren't sure what to do. How may I help you? Ask I am. Greetings, I am Lady Yukihyo of the Panther clan. I and Lord Sessho, who is outside, would like to order several bowls of your ramen in large bowls, please, so our mouths can fit inside. You come highly recommended from a customer of yours. She responded. Oh okay, Dad, please make 2 large batches of miso and beef ramen to start and leave them in the pots. I am called to her dad. Tucci just nodded and got to work, but still cut several glances over to the large animal in their stand. It finally clicked what the animal said and asked, you said there was a customer of ours that recommended us? That is correct, Yukihyo responded. Who was it? She asked. Can you two keep it a secret for the time being? Yukihyo asked. They both nodded. It was your number 1 customer Naruto, she replied. From the kitchen, which could be seen in plain view, a ladle was dropped as Tucci turned to look at the animal. It was quiet in the stand as the 2 ramen people stared at the animal with tears in their eyes. Is he okay? Is he eating well? I am asked. He is doing well and eating well. By the way, we have a gift for you. Replied Yukihyo. She handed the young girl a small pouch full of money. The surprises never seemed to stop as the 2 humans stared into the bag with wide eyes. What is this for? Asked Tucci. Call it back payment for all the free meals you gave Lord Naruto all those times he needed food. You have nothing to worry about. If you ever find yourself needing money, do not hesitate to request it from us. We will ensure you are taken care of. This is all because you took care of him, so it is our turn to take care of you. Commented Lady Yukihyo. I am, who had finally gathered her thoughts, said, did you say, Lord Naruto? Yes, I did. Let me tell you all about him now while we eat, she replied. The 2 humans served the food to the animals and grabbed a couple of chairs and started to talk about the young lord without using his name, and had many discussion about various topics that revolved around him. Back in the Hokage's office, we find the Hokage, along with Jiraiya and Shizune, beginning their discussions right after the animals left. Lady Tsunade, what do you think we should do? Asked Shizune. I want to trust them, but they could be using us. Hell, they had a spy right here for who knows how long. She replied. I know, my lady, but they didn't have to reveal that spy either. They could simply had worked around a bit of information and left the spy in here. Also, for all we know, there could be a spy still here and they only revealed 1 spy to throw us off our game. Commented Shizune. If there is another spy here, please reveal yourself. There will be no consequences, we only wish to discuss this in private. Called out Tsunade. After a minute or so, Shizune raised an eyebrow to her mentor. What, it was worth a try at least, responded Tsunade. It finally occurred to her that Jiraiya had been silent this whole time. "Jiraiya, why are you so quiet?" asked Tsunade. "I sent a shadow clone to follow them. I'm waiting for it to disperse," he replied as if it was obvious. "Ah, finally." The spy left for another part of the village in order to rest. The ones known as Sessho and Yukihiro are at Ikraku's. They gave them money and thanked them for all they have done for Naruto. Tsunade and Shizune were astounded by this. "I think you should trust them," Tsunade commented Jiraiya. Tsunade knew he was serious about this because he hardly ever used her full first name. "Shizune?" asked the Hokage. Shizune simply nodded. "Okay," Tsunade continued, "I have another small issue. In the hopes that Naruto would return someday, I have arranged for him to possibly marry Hinata, assuming he would sign the contract." What was the chorus sound from the other two occupants of the room? "How did you pull that off?" asked Jiraiya. "Long story short, but I tricked Hayashi into signing the contract. The slugs are keeping the contract safe for me right now." "So you are worried about the CRA request from the lion and his companion?" asked Shizune. "Yes, I care for my apprentice dearly and I don't know how to break this to her," Tsunade responded. "I say bring her here and let her decide. She can hear it straight from the lion's mouth," quipped Jiraiya. Tsunade nodded. "Shizune, send for Hinata and once she arrives go see to our guests and bring them back here." "At once, my lady." After about 30 minutes of time has passed, we find ourselves in the Hokage's office with the original party plus one Hinata. Hinata wasn't sure what was going on, but having two large animals with sharp teeth across from her was making her nervous. Tsunade whispered. "Steady." Hinata took a deep breath and calmed herself. Well, for a split second when she realized that both animals were staring right at her. It was then that Yukihiro turned to Sessho. "I like her." Hinata went wide-eyed. "Did they just say they liked me?" she thought. "Well, Lady Tsunade, I assume you have made up your mind?" asked Sessho. "For the most part yes, we have. However, there is a small issue with number 3 on your agreement. It involves this young lady right here." Tsunade gestured toward Hinata. Hinata was turning her head from the animals to her sensei to and fro from the comment. Tsunade-san. "Hinata, we have been working this. Calm yourself and speak clearly." She took a deep breath. "Tsunade-sensei, did you just say that some agreement affects me?" "Yes, I did." "Oh." Tsunade smirked, knowing what was coming, and also she frowned, thinking about all the final results that could occur. "Hinata, this is Lord Sessho and Lady Yukihiro of the Panther clan. They serve a clan as their sole summoning and they have come here to provide us with an opportunity to bring that clan to Konoha. However, this may affect you. Lord Sessho, would you mind taking the lead on this conversation?" asked Tsunade. "I don't mind at all. Lady Hinata, it is a pleasure to meet you. We have heard some good things about you." Sessho responded. "Me?" she asked. "Yes, you. Let's just get to the meat of the issue here. We are willing to provide the Hokage with all the necessary information needed to bring our lord home, here in Konoha. Our lord's name is Lord Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze." Sessho stopped there. "Naruto-kun?" Hinata shook her head. It took all of about 10 seconds for her brain to process what the lion just said. "Wait, did you say Namikaze?" "He did, Hinata. It is also true. This is an S-class secret that was not supposed to be revealed until Naruto was a Jonin. He sealed the Nine Tails into his own son?" Hinata asked and Seth all at the same time. "Yes, Hinata, he did. He couldn't ask for someone to sacrifice something he wasn't willing to do himself," commented Jiraiya. It took Hinata a few minutes to catch up to what was being implied by this meeting. "So if they can bring him back, why are we not jumping on this opportunity? We actually have agreed to most of the demands between myself, Jiraiya and Shizune. However, request number 3 would directly affect you." Hinata looked at the animals. what is request number 3? We are demanding that Lord Namikaze be placed under your village's CRA Act to rebuild the clan. Sessho commented. Hinata stood there for a long time. Okay, that means I have to share him, I get that. How does this affect the Namikaze clan? Do we share the matriarch position, or is there a lead matriarch and then some kind of subwives? That would be up to Lord Namikaze and how he wants his clan ran. We only support the clan head. Commented Yukihio. As long as I get my Naruto-kun back home, I don't care. She said with determination. Tsunade smiled at the girl for being able to handle this with an open mind and maturity. Very well, Lord Sessho, Lady Yukihio, as Hokage of Konoha, I officially accept your offer. Tsunade signed the document, which immediately through some fancy jutsu copied itself with the stamp of the Panther clan. One copy is for you, Lady Hokage, and the other is for us as proof of the agreement. As for the rest of our agreement, we have our spy outside this room. May we request he come in? Commented Lady Yukihio. Tsunade nodded and the leopard came into the office. Please recall the spies on the 3 elders immediately. Alert the other spies to protect them and their information. We needed this information right now, said Sessho. The leopard took off at high speed to send the signal to return. It was a matter of about 20 minutes when 3 black leopards stood in the office. These leopards were normal size and didn't take up as much space as Sessho. They handed the reports to the Hokage directly. Before you open those, Lady Tsunade, please be aware that you have the full force of the Panther clan at your disposal. We will help in any way possible. Commented Sessho. Thank you, and we will not hesitate to ask. This is outrageous. Commented Tsunade with anger not seen in her in a long time. What is Tsuheim? Asked Jiraiya. Danzo, the swine. I never thought he would. Last time. This is outrageous. Commented Tsunade with anger not seen in her in a long time. What is Tsuheim? Asked Jiraiya. Danzo, the swine. I never thought he would. Caught up. She nearly choked and cried at the same time. I never thought he would sink so low to kidnap newborns from their mothers and tell them that their children died during birth. He has been doing this for years. Based on these estimates, he has an army of over 100 shinobi all under his control. Shizune and Jiraiya stood there in shock. Jiraiya being the first to gather his wits. I knew he had a small group of ninja, but I never thought he would have an army. How is he keeping this all hidden and how is he controlling them? Those other 2 old dingbats of advisors have been providing him the cushion needed to stay under the radar. He has a complex built underground. I don't believe it's right under our feet. Tsunade just had an idea, but then realized who was in the room. Hinata, first of all, you cannot tell anyone a thing about this. After Hinata agreed, Tsunade continued. Okay, Hinata, use your Byakugan and look down for me. Tsunade-sensei, I don't see anything, she replied. Damn, how can we figure out how big this place is? Tsunade commented. Tsunade-sensei, I think you misunderstand what I meant. I actually mean I cannot see anything. Not the dirt, not some mysterious complex. I just see a void. Like something isn't there. He's masking the complex with some kind of seal, genjutsu, or both. Commented Jiraiya. Ahem, we have mapped out the complex with all exits. It's in the storage seal at the bottom of that document. Yukihio commented. The others in the room deadpanned, could have said something sooner. Thought everyone else. Jiraiya, I need options. I want this taken care of immediately. Commanded Tsunade. Well, let me think. May we interrupt? Asked Sessho. Honestly, I want to say no, but I'm guessing at this point that is pointless and you probably have everything ironed out, don't you? Asked Tsunade. With a small chuckle the lion nodded his head. Yes, and based on your numbers you probably don't have the manpower to fight what would certainly be a civil war, so we are going to help. Lady Yukihio, please continue for us," commanded Sessho. "Well, here is our plan." After hearing the plan, Tsunade thought for about 5 minutes in silence. "That plan has to be the most thought-out plan I have ever heard. If you can help us pull that off, then you will get more than you asked for. I will personally see to that." "Very well, let's begin preparations. Jiraiya, we will need your help to have the seal ready for you to use by the end of the week. Lady Tsunade, schedule the next council meeting for the following Monday." At her nod, everyone bid farewell to each other except for Sessho, who asked Hinata if he could walk her back to her clan compound. Of course she agreed. They were silent for a block or two before she asked the obvious question. "I assume you wanted to talk to me about our mutual friend?" "Indeed, tell me, Lady Hinata, what do you know about him? What kind of person is he? What's his personality?" asked Sessho. Hinata was a little nervous. She had never actually verbalized everything she knew about Naruto. All those years keeping watch over him. Learning about his likes and dislikes. She finally spoke. "He has a good heart. He cares about people, even those that have wronged him. He has a kind personality, and when he smiles he can light up the world. Those eyes of his, those beautiful ocean blue eyes, are the window into his soul. I could stare into them forever." At this point the lion stopped. Hinata looked back and wondered what was going on. Sessho finally spoke. "Lady Hinata. Please, just call me Hinata," she interrupted. Sessho giggled a bit at the similarities to her and Naruto on that regard. "Lady Hinata," he continued with an amused tone that turned quickly as he regained his original thought. "I must tell you, be prepared for the day my lord returns. First, I have never seen him smile. Second, outside training, his eyes do not have any life. I see glimpses of life when he is with Lady Nilu, but those are few and far between. We believe that his heart was shattered that day he was banished. If you truly wish to be with him, be prepared to put up with him and fight for him, because it will most likely be a very hard and long fight." Hinata had many thoughts. "If there is one thing I know, he is still in there. He is just too stubborn to completely become cold and uncaring. I will just have to put his heart together one piece at a time." Sessho continued walking. "I wish you luck, Lady Hinata. I believe you will need it." After a few moments of silence, Hinata finally relented on her jealously and had to ask. "Lord Sessho, who is this Lady Nilu, and does she take care of my of my lord?" Sessho actually laughed out loud. "Jealous are we?" She just mocked, glared, and finally nodded. "Do not worry, Lady Hinata, Lady Nilu is my lord's familiar. A familiar is the personal summons of the clan who is always by their summoner's side. You have no need to be jealous. However, you may want to work on that if you are going to be in the CRA with others. Jealousy could destroy the family." "I understand, it won't happen again," she commented. "Lord Sessho, with all the upcoming activities, may I ask for a personal favor for a friend? What do you need done, and I will decide if we can help." "I have a friend." "Okay, here's the whole story." By the time Hinata finished the story, they had arrived at the front gates of the Uchiha clan. Needless to say, with the heiress walking around with the talk of the town, the clan head, Hayashi, came out. "Good evening. You may call me Lord Sessho. Lady Hinata can fill you in on the basics of who we are, but some details of today's meeting is considered S-class by your Hokage. Lady Hinata, I cannot make any promises on that request, but we will look into it at least." "Good evening, Lord Sessho, I look forward to future conversations," replied Hinata with a bow and turned to walk in. Once inside, Hayashi requested that they eat dinner and discuss what happened to the extent she was allowed. Hayashi was impressed that his daughter and heiress was part of some secret meeting with the Hokage and told her how much honor this brought to the clan. Slap, a backhand across the face brought her sleeping form from the land of dreams. "Wake up, you bitch." Sasuke sneered. Ino practically jumped out of her own skin. She kind of wished it actually happened because it would bring her death and freedom from this nightmare. "You should stop resisting and just obey me like a proper Uchiha wife should." I will never marry you. Ino defiantly seethed at Sasuke. Remember this, Sasuke, if it wasn't for those ninja in the white mask putting me in your house with these damn chakra restraint bindings, I would so rape your mind and leave you a vegetable on the floor. Stomp. Ino cried out as her kneecap was broken by Sasuke. As Ino was crying on the floor, Sakura came into the room. My lord Sasuke, some umbu from the Hokage dropped by the front gate of the compound with a summons for you to go see the Hokage. Sakura said in a love-sick and obedient manner. Very well. Listen, bitch, when I get back you better start showing me proper respect. Sasuke stomped out of the room, like the little bitch he is, as a man-child on a mission going to see the Hokage. Oh, how he hated that he couldn't use chakra. Sakura looked down on Ino. I must admit, I am glad you resist. Every time you resist he takes his frustration out on main bed. It gets a little rough, but nothing a proper uchiha wife cannot handle unlike you. Ino fought through the pain. Look at me Sakura, we used to be friends. Please help me. I will help you. Here is some advice. Start acting like an uchiha wife should and you will find rebuilding his clan is what you are destined for from now on. Sakura promptly left the room. After Sakura left the room Ino began to cry again. Please Kami, kill me or save me, but please do not let me suffer anymore. She thought. Little did she know, that one prayer would be the start of her freedom. Sasuke finally reached the Hokage's office. Remembering that he had to act respectful in front of her he knocked. Come in. Ah, Sasuke, I have good news for you. Hokage-sama. He asked with a slightly less that respectful tone. That arrogant prick. If it wasn't for this damnable council I would you throw your ass in a jail cell. Thought Tsunade. I wanted to give you a heads up. It has been decided that you will be allowed to train as a genin again. At the first of the week Jiraiya will be here to remove the chakra seals. However, you will still have the tracking seal on you for the time being. You will only be allowed to do D-rank missions and any low C-rank missions that are held inside the village. You will still be observed by Umbu. That being said you are to compete in the next Chunin exams held in Konoha. I hope you don't mind, but you will need to train your heart out and I do apologize. No I don't, she thought, but I believe you will have to wait to put off your second wedding to make sure you are ready for the exams. Sasuke stood there dumbstruck. Excuse me but how do I know that you won't change your mind? He asked. I assumed you might be skeptical, so here are the official orders. A copy is already on file and will be presented to the council at the next meeting to inform them. That copy you have there is for your records. She replied. Sasuke was elated. He wouldn't show it publicly, but who gives a rat's ass about some wedding when he can finally have the power he needs? He would be training non-stop from this point on. Thank you he actually said somewhat in a thankful tone, but still with a hint of, it's about time. Now, go I have work to do. She said as Sasuke left the office. He wanted to run home and get all his gear prepped and clean off the training grounds from the many months of neglect. He would not let a time pass once his chakra was unsealed. Tsunade sat in her office watching Sasuke hurriedly walk toward the Uchiha compound. I hope these panthers know what they are doing. She thought. However, she was going to take this leap of faith and trust this would work out in order to get her Naruto back home. Sasuke walked into his house. Woman, where are you? He shouted out. My lord Sasuke, how may I serve you? Replied Sakura. You have truly come a long way from where you began. He thought. I have good news, the Hokage has decided that I will get my chakra restraint taken off and I will be a genin again. It is limited, but I am to compete in the next Chunin exams held in Konoha. It is a glorious day for us Uchiha. Sakura was elated. Congratulations my lord. What of the wedding with Ino? She asked. The wedding will have to be put off until at least after the Chunin exams. Keep her locked up and just provide her food. You know what, give her some freedom in the room with a longer chain and then just create a food slot and slide food under the door. Hopefully the isolation from now and until after the Chunin exams will help her realize that she belongs to the mighty Uchiha clan. Don't converse with her either, just keep her fed and keep with your duties as the matriarch. With the marriage contract granted by the council, another month or so won't make a difference. She will be my second wife. He commanded. I shall obey, my lord. She replied. Ino was actually happy about the isolation. For her it was another prayer answered. She could only hope that something would change and someone would come for her. Please, Kami, send me a savior, she said out loud. The time passed by quickly for everyone involved, and finally the day came to the most famous council meeting in the history of Konoha. As everyone piled into the room, included the three wise elders, there were quite a few shadowy figures making their way into Danzo's root base. Welcome, honorable counselors, said the Hokage in a rather cheerful tone not heard from her in some time. Are there any internal affairs for the village that need to be addressed? After about 45 minutes the internal affairs were wrapped up and the council was about to depart when Tsunade got their attention. Please forgive me for making you all stay longer, but we have business to discuss. Anbu, please invite our guest in. Everyone was curious about what was going on. Just a few minutes and the two large animals that have been the talk of the town walked in. Well, Yukihiro walked in, but Sessho had to squeeze in through the double doors. The civilian council was rather intimidated by the large animals, but it was Danzo now that seemed to be sweating. Tsunade looked over and noticed this. On the outside he looked calm, but to Tsunade's trained medical eye she could tell he was nervous. Welcome to the council chambers. Honorable counselors, let me introduce you to Lord Sessho, the head of the summoning lions in the human realm. Sessho inclined his head. His companion is Lady Yukihiro, who is the head of the summoning snow leopards in the human realm as well. Yukihiro inclined her head. Lord Sessho, I give you the floor. Thank you, Lady Hokage. We of the Panther summoning clan have served one clan since we started our summoning contract. Through a series of unfortunate events we found ourselves without a clan to serve for a long time. Recently we came across the sole living heir of the royal bloodline of the clan we thought died out during the Second Great Ninja War. Since then we have decided to bring the clan to a village, and our lord is allowing to make this decision for him. However, there are issues that have to be resolved before that is allowed by the Panther clan. Koharu decided to take the lead. Sessho. You will address me properly, human. My lord is the only one allowed to address me so informally. Sessho growled out in anger. To his side Yukihiro was giving off a low growl as well. The civilians were slightly intimidated as well, all thinking he could eat any one of them whole. Stupid civs, right, readers? My apologies, Lord Sessho, but what issues have to be resolved? Koharu asked. Perhaps I should take over here, if that is okay with you, Lord Sessho. Tsunade said with some amusement behind her tone. Sessho nodded. It has come to my attention that this council has been compromised. Beyond that, it has also been determined that there are those on this council that have been committing treason against this village. Tsunade said with a commanding tone. There was shock throughout the council chambers. Umbu. Tsunade called out. Several Anbu appeared in the middle of the room, standing facing each of the counselors' table. Here are the documents to prove my allegations are true. The documents provided had the shinobi side up in arms at the blatant stealing and backroom deals happening with the civilians. The civilian council was shamed, but Tsunade prepped for the big bombshell. Quiet. She spoke forcefully. It should be noted that not all blame can be placed on the civilian counselors. This caught everyone's attention, and suddenly Danzo knew something was wrong. Anbu, please pass the rest of the documents to the shinobi side only. Danzo, you seem nervous, please speak up if you have something to say. Tsunade had a wicked grin, and the rest of the council was wondering what's going on until Shikaka Nara spoke up. After all, as a very smart man, he learned to ready the important stuff in the back first and work his way to the front of all information documents. This is an outrage. How is this even possible? None of this has been caught. The Nara jumped up and slammed his hands on the table looking at Danzo to Tsunade, then back to Danzo. Please save us some time, what is going on Lady Hokage? Asked Hayashi in his calm facade. It would seem that Danzo has been running his root program under the radar. On top of that he not only has been taking in orphans with the civilian side not asking question, but he has had babies born from all the clans declared dead upon birth and then absorbing them into his private military army. On top of that he has had the full support of our esteemed elders as documented in the folders you have there. The elders and Danzo were sweating bullets now, but for some reason Danzo hadn't yet moved from his seat. He hadn't spoken a word which was very uncharacteristic of him. On top of that, he has been influencing the council behind the scenes to get what he wants done. The shinobi were fuming at this point and the KI was so high the civilians were about to pass out. Please calm yourselves, commanded Tsunade. Lady Hokage, how is he influencing the civilians? Asked Shibi the Abu Rami clan head. You see Danzo is not quite so crippled as he makes out. He has a total of 10 Sharingan. 1 hidden by the wrappings over his left eye and 9 more implanted on his right arm hidden inside his clothing. She commented. At this point an ANBU agent came up behind Danzo and unwrapped his head and displayed the left eye. All the clan heads were furious. None more than Hayashi due to being positive some of his clan has been taken from him. Especially if they have unsealed Byakugans. I want answers Danzo answer me. He commanded. The counselors turned to Tsunade due to her giggling, except for Danzo. Oh I completely forgot she said with sarcasm he cannot move or talk. You see there is a special seal we have on that seat for you Danzo. With the help of some of the Panther clan knowledge and Jiraiya's aptitude for seals we have a special seal that has completely immobilized you and has cut off all your chakra. Danzo for treason and multiple counts of kidnapping you have been sentenced to death. We have a medical team here now to remove those fancy eyes you stole from the Uchiha massacre as well. All of a sudden about 5 root ANBU came out of nowhere to help their leader escape. They were mere inches from getting him off that seat when leopards came out of the shadows, surprising the Nara clan head, and took care of the root ANBU by surprise. Several other leopards popped out of shadows and surrounded the other elders, and just for good measure they surrounded the shinobi and civilian counselors. Needless to say everyone was surprised at this point. Yukihiro walked up to the elders and stood there addressing them directly. You 3 are directly responsible for the treatment of our clan heir. As such we deem it necessary to kill you now. With one quick swipe the leopards used a single claw to cut the 2 elders' throats and waited for the medics to remove the Sharingan. It was about 30 minutes by the time the elders' bodies were taken care of. Lady Hokage, what happened with the rest of the root ninja that Danzo has? Asked Shikaku Nara. The leopards were kind enough to subdue where they were able to or they have had to kill them. I have several of my personal ANBU with the leopards right now assisting in scouring the root facility for everything. This brings me back to the civilians. She brought her eyes to the civilians who flinched after seeing the esteemed elders so quickly eliminated. Without knowing if your decisions were directly affected by Danzo or not I will have to have you removed from the council and submitted to Ibiki for interrogation to determine if you were or were not controlled by Danzo. On top of that, every decision you have been a part of has to be reviewed for the good of the village. ANBU please escort the civilians to Ibiki. She commanded and the civilians left without a fuss. Now back our esteemed guest. Would you like to continue? Tsunade directed her question to Sessho. Thank you, now that the corruption has been taken care of we need to address another issue for our lord. Sessho commented. Lord Sessho, what clan do you serve? Asked Minazuka. Sessho looked at the Hokage and she shrugged her shoulders to indicate that he could do as he wished. We serve the Namikaze clan. There were wide eyes from the remaining council members. Wait, you're telling us that the Namikaze clan still exists out in the world? Asked Inoichi. That is correct. The sole surviving heir of the royal bloodline happened to save one of my young and brought him back to us. It was through sheer dumb luck that we found out he was a Namikaze. Said Lord Sessho. Shikaku could not add the pieces together, and when a puzzle was there he had to solve it. Please forgive me, but you said earlier that you had issues to be resolved and that our elders were directly responsible. I don't see how our internal issues could have been a problem for you. Don't get me wrong, thank you for bringing the corruption that Danzo had caused to an end, but that still leaves the why. That is quite easy to answer, replied Sessho. This council has banished our heir and we need that banishment lifted. The theme of today's council meeting must have been wide and shocked eyes because once again the shinobi council was starting to put two and two together. You mean Naruto Tsume started? Yes, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, stated Sessho with authority and pride. The silence in the room was eerie to say the least. Sessho and Yukihiro stayed there and waited to see what would happen. Lady Hokage, I would like to make a motion to lift the banishment on Naruto, stated Shikaku. Jrrr. That is Lord Namikaze, said Yukihiro rather hotly. Shikaku bowed his head, my apologies. I would like to make a motion to lift the banishment of Lord Namikaze. He corrected. At the exact same time Inoichi, Choza, and Tsume all rose their hands to second the motion at the same time. Tsunade kept a stoic facade, but on the inside she was practically jumping up and down. One by one all the lesser clans agreed until we reached the final clan, the Hyuga. Lord Hayashi, this banishment cannot be overturned without a 100% vote. You are the last vote. What say you? Asked Tsunade. Hayashi thought for a long time and then took out a piece of paper. He wrote down his answer and folded the paper. He gave it to the Anbu to give to the Hokage. She raised her eyebrow as if to silently ask the question. He answered her silent question. My answer, which is written down, will not change, but may I ask something first? Tsunade nodded and he continued, does this have to do with what happened in your office? He never got to finish the question, but Sessho answered. Yes, Lord Hyuga, it does. Very well, Lady Hokage, I approve of lifting the banishment on. He looked at the Yukihiro, Lord Namikaze. Tsunade was overjoyed, but she kept her composure and continued. Very well, let it go on record that Lord Namikaze may return to the village at his convenience. Now before we adjourn, let us discuss the remaining demands of the Panther clan has requested for their lord. The council meeting discussed everything with the exception of the uchiha clause due to Tsunade not needing another headache right now. And so it was, Naruto was free to return. However, will he sign the marriage contract with Hinata? Will he face the uchiha in the Chunin exams? Will he find happiness? What does Hayashi actually think about all this? Flashback. Good morning, my lord, yelled Jaga. It is time for your first day of training. Here, put on this belt. Yawna, what is this? As Naruto tied the belt to his waist without looking at it. Sometimes we do stupid stuff when we are sleepy in the morning. That is your new training belt for the next month. As you will notice, there are two big slabs of steak attached to each side. The end. So how was this part? I hope you like it. And if you like it, share this part with your friends, and like the video too. And don't forget to subscribe our channel for daily awesome fanfiction. Okay, it's time for me to go. Bye bye.